You think you felt yourself falling, and that's what made your body jerk awake. It's backwards. The jerk happened first. The falling was a story your brain invented half a second later, just to explain something it couldn't otherwise justify. So what's actually happening in that split second between being awake and being asleep? For something that happens to almost everyone, it's one of the strangest, least understood moments in human biology. And the explanation involves two systems in your brain fighting for control of your body right as you're losing consciousness. Let's start with the basics. This is called a hypnic jerk, sometimes a sleep start. Somewhere between 60 and 70% of people experience it, and researchers suspect the real number is even higher because most jerks are too small to remember. It's a type of myoclonus, a sudden, involuntary muscle contraction. Hiccups are myoclonus of the diaphragm. A hypnic jerk is the same basic event, but it fires once, at one very specific moment, right as you're crossing from wakefulness into sleep. Here's what's actually happening inside you during that crossing. Falling asleep isn't a switch flipping, it's a handover. Deep in your brainstem and hypothalamus, there are arousal networks, circuits that keep you alert, awake, aware of your surroundings. And there are sleep-promoting systems, circuits that gradually power those networks down. Every night, control passes from one system to the other. Most of the time, it's smooth, seamless. You don't notice it happening at all. But sometimes, in that handover, something slips through. Researchers studying muscle activity during hypnic jerks found something strange. The contraction doesn't spread through your body in an orderly way, arm, then shoulder, then leg. It fires everywhere almost simultaneously. That's a clue. It suggests the signal isn't coming from your muscles reacting to each other. It's coming from somewhere much deeper, a single burst from the brainstem itself, a stray motor signal that slips past the inhibition that's supposed to be shutting things down as you fall asleep. For one fraction of a second, the arousal system fires one last powerful command, and your muscles obey it, all at once, before sleep fully takes over. Now, here's the part that changes everything. That's the jerk, but what about the falling? This is where it gets interesting. A widely held view among sleep researchers is that the falling sensation isn't the cause of the jerk at all, it's the effect. Your cortex, the thinking, conscious part of your brain, is already half offline by this point, drifting towards sleep. Suddenly, it receives a violent, unexplained motor signal. Your whole body just convulsed, and it has no context for why. So it does what your brain always does when it's missing information. It builds a story. And the story it reaches for almost every single time is falling. Not choking, not being hit, falling. Researchers think this might connect to something deeper, an old reflex tied to how your inner ear and vestibular system, the parts of you that track balance, briefly misread the sudden drop in muscle tone as your body actually losing its footing. So the sequence isn't you feel yourself fall, then your body jerks to catch itself. It's the opposite. Your body jerks first, for reasons buried in your brainstem, and a half-conscious mind, scrambling to explain a sensation it can't otherwise account for, it invents the fall after the fact and hands it to you as a memory that feels like it happened first. It gets even stranger. During actual REM sleep, when you're deep in a dream, your muscles are almost completely paralyzed, a state called atonia. That's why you don't act out dreams where you're falling, running, fighting. But a hypnic jerk happens before that protection kicks in the lighter, earlier stage of sleep, when your body is still capable of moving. That's the exact narrow window that this glitch can slip through. A few minutes later, and your body would be too shut down to jerk at all. And certain things make it worse: stress, caffeine, sleep deprivation, exercising too close to bedtime. All of them keep your arousal system running hotter than it should be, right as you're trying to hand control over to sleep. The rougher that handover, the more likely something misfires on the way through.
So the next time it happens, that sudden jolt, the gasp, the split-second certainty that you were falling through empty space, you'll know what actually occurred. Your body didn't fall. It never left the bed. What happened was smaller and stranger than that. Somewhere in your brainstem, one last signal slipped through a door that was already closing, and your mind, caught half awake in the dark, did the only thing it knows how to do with a feeling it can't explain. It gave you a story fast enough that you'd never even notice the story came after.